Most people think dessert before bed is one of the worst things you can do for your health. And honestly, when you look at the typical desserts most people eat late at night, it's easy to understand why. Ice cream loaded with sugar, cookies made with refined flour, cakes packed with artificial ingredients, candy bars filled with processed oils and syrups. These foods may taste good for a few minutes, but inside the body they often create a completely different story. Blood sugar rises rapidly, insulin spikes, energy crashes, cravings increase, sleep quality suffers, and many people wake up the next morning feeling tired, bloated, sluggish, and hungry all over again. But what if I told you there's a way to enjoy a warm, soft, rich chocolate dessert at night without putting your body through that cycle? What if you could actually make a dessert that satisfies your cravings while also supporting your metabolism, stabilizing your blood sugar, helping you feel full longer, and giving your body ingredients it can actually use instead of fight against? That's exactly what I want to show you today. This may be one of the few desserts you ever eat before bed that can truly work with your body instead of against it. And the best part? You can make it in just a couple of minutes using simple ingredients that many people already have sitting in their kitchen right now. No complicated baking, no expensive equipment, no long preparation, no advanced cooking skills required. Just a mug, a few healthy ingredients, and about 90 seconds. Now, before we begin, I want you to really think about how most late night eating happens. Usually it starts with a craving. You've finished dinner, maybe you're relaxing on the couch, maybe you're watching television, maybe you're scrolling on your phone, and suddenly your brain starts looking for something sweet. The problem is, most people reach for foods that digest extremely quickly. Refined sugar enters the bloodstream fast. Highly processed carbohydrates break down rapidly, and the body responds with a sharp rise in insulin. That quick rush may feel comforting in the moment, but it's often followed by a crash. And when that crash happens, many people either continue snacking or wake up feeling poorly rested. Over time, this pattern can make it harder to manage appetite, harder to maintain healthy energy levels, and harder to support healthy metabolic function. That's why choosing the right ingredients matters so much, because not all desserts affect the body the same way. And once you understand how certain ingredients work together, you can completely change the way your body responds to nighttime eating. So let's start building this dessert step by step. First, I want you to grab a mug. Any microwave-safe mug will work. But personally, I love using a clear glass container because you can actually watch the transformation happen. You can see the ingredients mixed together. You can watch the texture rise. And when it's finished, it almost feels like you created something special out of just a few healthy ingredients. Now, the first ingredient we're going to use is almond flour. This is one of the key ingredients that makes this dessert so different from traditional cakes and desserts. Most desserts are made with refined white flour, and refined flour breaks down very quickly into glucose. That rapid digestion can contribute to spikes in blood sugar and insulin. Almond flour works differently because almond flour is naturally lower in carbohydrates and higher in healthy fats. It tends to have a much gentler effect on blood sugar levels. It also provides a softer texture that gives this dessert a rich, satisfying, cake-like consistency. And unlike many processed flours, almond flour contains nutrients that your body can actually benefit from. It contains healthy fats. It contains vitamin E. It contains minerals. And because it's more nutrient dense, many people find it more satisfying. Now, if you prefer, you can also use coconut flour. Coconut flour is another lower carbohydrate option and contains fiber that can help slow digestion. However, coconut flour absorbs much more liquid, so the texture becomes a little different. Personally, for this particular dessert, almond flour gives a softer and more moist result. Next, we're going to add 1 egg, and this step is extremely important. Many people don't realize how powerful protein can be when it comes to controlling appetite and supporting stable energy. Protein slows digestion. It helps increase satiety, and it helps reduce those strong cravings that often appear late at night. Instead of eating something that leaves you hungry again 30 minutes later, the protein in the egg helps create a dessert that actually feels satisfying. Eggs also help create structure. They give the dessert that soft, fluffy texture, and they contain important nutrients that support the body in many different ways. Now let's talk about chocolate, because this is where things become delicious. We're going to add cocoa powder, real cocoa powder, not sugary chocolate syrup, not highly processed mixes, pure cocoa powder, and cocoa is loaded with compounds called polyphenols. These natural compounds have antioxidant properties that help support circulation and help reduce oxidative stress in the body. Dark cocoa also contains compounds that many people find calming and satisfying. And when you combine cocoa with healthy fats and protein, something interesting happens. Instead of getting a rapid sugar rush, you create a much slower, steadier release of energy. Now, of course, we still want this dessert to taste sweet, but we're going to do that in a smarter way. Instead of using large amounts of sugar, we can use natural sweeteners like monk fruit or stevia. These options allow you to enjoy sweetness without creating the same dramatic blood sugar spike that refined sugar often causes. And that's important because one of the biggest problems with sugary desserts is not just the initial spike, it's the crash afterward. Many people experience a cycle where sugar creates temporary pleasure, followed by fatigue, cravings, and hunger. And that pattern can repeat itself again and again. By reducing refined sugar and choosing ingredients that digest more slowly, you help your body maintain more stable energy. Next, we'll add a little baking powder. This may seem like a small ingredient, but it makes a big difference. It helps the dessert rise, it creates air pockets, and it gives that soft cake-like texture that makes this feel like a real treat instead of a compromise. Now let's add another important component. Healthy fat. This could be butter, or it could be coconut oil. Both work beautifully. Healthy fats help slow the absorption of glucose. They also help increase satiety, and perhaps most importantly, they make the dessert rich and satisfying. One reason people overeat desserts is because highly processed foods often fail to truly satisfy the body. They create intense flavor, but very little nutritional satisfaction. Healthy fats change that. They help create a more complete feeling of fullness. Now we're going to mix everything together right inside the mug, and as you stir, you'll notice the texture becoming thick and smooth. The cocoa blends into the batter. The almond flour absorbs the moisture, and within seconds, it starts looking like real chocolate cake batter. This is one of my favorite parts because it shows how simple, healthy cooking can be. You don't need complicated recipes. You don't need 20 ingredients. You don't need hours in the kitchen. Sometimes the best solutions are the simplest ones. Now it's time for the microwave. Place the mug inside for about 60 to 90 seconds. Every microwave is a little different, so watch it carefully. And this is where the transformation happens. The batter begins to rise. The texture firms up. The top becomes soft and warm. And suddenly, you have a rich chocolate dessert sitting right in front of you. But unlike most desserts, this one was designed to work with your body, not against it. And here's where things become even more powerful, because this dessert is incredibly customizable. You can adjust it based on your preferences and your goals. For example, maybe you want more texture and healthy fats. Add chopped walnuts. Walnuts contain healthy fats and can help increase satiety. Maybe you prefer pecans. Pecans add richness and crunch while also contributing healthy fats. Maybe you want extra chocolate flavor. Add a few dark chocolate chips. Dark chocolate contains antioxidants and provides deeper flavor with less sugar than traditional milk chocolate. Maybe you want freshness and fiber. Add a few berries on top. Berries provide natural sweetness along with fiber and beneficial plant compounds. And maybe you want an extra layer of warmth and support for healthy blood sugar. Sprinkle a little cinnamon. Cinnamon not only tastes amazing with chocolate, but some research suggests it may help support healthy blood sugar levels as part of a balanced diet. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about what's really happening here, because this isn't just about making a healthier dessert. It's about changing the entire relationship your body has with nighttime eating. When you eat highly processed desserts before bed, your body often experiences instability, rapid spikes, rapid crashes, cravings, poor sleep. But when you choose ingredients that digest more slowly and provide protein, healthy fats, and fiber, the experience becomes completely different. Energy becomes steadier. Cravings often decrease. Satiety improves. And many people find they wake up feeling much better. This is especially important for people trying to support their metabolic health, because metabolic health affects so many aspects of how we feel every single day. Energy levels, appetite, weight management, sleep quality, mood, focus, and the foods we eat consistently play a major role. Now I want to make something very clear. This is not about perfection. I'm not telling you that you can eat unlimited desserts all day long. And I'm not saying that one recipe magically solves every health problem. But what I am saying is this: small choices repeated consistently create powerful results over time. Replacing processed desserts with better options can make a significant difference, especially when those better options actually satisfy you. Because sustainable health is not about punishment. It's about creating choices that you can realistically enjoy and continue long term. And that's why this dessert works so well for many people. It feels comforting. It feels indulgent. It feels satisfying. But underneath that comfort are ingredients that support stability instead of chaos. Now let's go a little deeper into why late-night blood sugar spikes can be so problematic. When blood sugar rises rapidly before bed, the body often responds with a large release of insulin. This can sometimes lead to blood sugar dropping later during the night. And when that happens, some people experience interrupted sleep. Others wake up feeling shaky or hungry. Some people even experience stronger cravings the next morning. Stable blood sugar matters. And one of the simplest ways to support stability is by reducing highly refined carbohydrates and excess sugar. That doesn't mean eliminating enjoyment. It means choosing smarter combinations: protein, healthy fats, fiber, lower glycemic ingredients. These components work together to slow digestion and provide a steadier release of energy. Now, let's talk about cravings for a moment. Because cravings are something almost everyone struggles with at some point. And cravings are not always about lack of willpower. Sometimes the foods we eat actually increase future cravings. Highly processed foods are often designed to make us want more. They create intense reward signals, but they digest quickly. And when the crash comes, the brain starts searching for another quick source of energy. That cycle becomes exhausting. But when you eat meals and snacks that provide more balance, the body often feels calmer, more stable, more satisfied. And that's one reason this dessert can be such a powerful replacement. Now imagine this scenario. Instead of opening a bag of cookies late at night, you make this warm chocolate mug cake. You sit down, you take a spoonful. It's soft, warm, rich, chocolatey, comforting. But instead of feeling guilty afterward, you know you chose ingredients designed to support your body. That mental shift matters too, because health is not only physical, it's emotional. When people constantly feel deprived, they often swing back toward overeating. But when healthy choices still feel enjoyable, consistency becomes easier. Now let's talk more specifically about some of the ingredients and why they matter. Almond flour, for example, contains significantly fewer carbohydrates than traditional flour. It also provides healthy fats and protein. That combination helps create slower digestion. And slower digestion often means steadier blood sugar. Eggs contribute high-quality protein. Protein not only supports fullness, but also plays important roles throughout the body. Cocoa powder contains flavonoids and antioxidants. Dark cocoa has been studied for potential benefits related to circulation and oxidative stress. Coconut oil contains fats that provide richness and help improve texture. Butter can also create a satisfying flavor and texture. And cinnamon adds both taste and potential metabolic support. Now, another important point. This dessert is portion controlled naturally. It's made in a mug, one serving, simple. And sometimes that matters more than people realize. Large containers of desserts make it easy to overeat mindlessly. But a single warm serving creates satisfaction without encouraging endless snacking. Now let's discuss sleep. Because many people underestimate how much food choices affect sleep quality, heavy processed desserts late at night can leave people feeling uncomfortable, bloated, restless, overstimulated. But a smaller dessert built around balanced ingredients may feel much gentler. And when cravings are satisfied in a balanced way, many people feel calmer and more relaxed. That's another reason I love recipes like this. They fit into real life. They don't require perfection, and they help people move in a healthier direction without feeling miserable. Now, maybe you're someone trying to lose weight. One of the hardest parts of weight management is controlling late-night cravings. People often do well during the day. Then nighttime comes. Stress increases, willpower drops, and suddenly they're eating foods that completely derail their goals. That's why replacement strategies are so effective. Instead of fighting cravings with pure restriction, you replace harmful choices with smarter ones. That's sustainable. And sustainability matters. Because the best health plan is not the most extreme one. It's the one you can actually continue. Now, I also want to address something important. Healthy eating does not mean every single food must be perfect. The goal is progress, better choices, more awareness, more balance. And when people stop thinking in extremes, they often make more consistent improvements. This dessert is one example of that philosophy. You're still enjoying chocolate, you're still enjoying dessert, but you're doing it in a way that supports your body more effectively. Now imagine making this part of your routine. Instead of ending the day with processed snacks, you end the day with something warm and intentional, something satisfying, something balanced. And over weeks and months, those decisions begin to add up. Energy improves, cravings become more manageable, sleep may improve, appetite becomes more stable, and perhaps most importantly, you begin building confidence in your ability to make healthier choices. That confidence matters, because once people realize healthy food can still taste amazing, everything changes. Now let's go through a simple example recipe. Start with about 3 tablespoons of almond flour. Add 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. Add 1 egg. Add a small amount of monk fruit sweetener or stevia. Add a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Add 1 tablespoon of melted butter or coconut oil. Mix thoroughly until smooth. Then microwave for 60 to 90 seconds. That's it. Simple, fast, and incredibly satisfying. Now, if you want the texture softer, you can slightly reduce cooking time. If you want it firmer, increase it slightly. You can experiment. That's part of the fun. And because the recipe is so simple, it's easy to customize. Maybe you add vanilla extract. Maybe you add chopped nuts. Maybe you add shredded coconut. Maybe you add dark chocolate chips. Maybe you top it with berries. There are endless variations. Now, I want to talk briefly about mindset. Because mindset often determines long-term success more than any single recipe ever could. Many people approach health with an all-or-nothing mentality. They try to be perfect. Then one dessert leads to guilt. The guilt leads to overeating, and the cycle continues. But health should not feel like punishment. It should feel like support. Recipes like this help create that balance. They remind people that healthier choices can still feel enjoyable and comforting. Now let's talk about children and families. One of the best things about this recipe is that it can easily become a healthier family treat. Instead of feeding children desserts loaded with processed sugar, you can create something homemade and more balanced. Kids often love the warm chocolate flavor, and parents love knowing the ingredients are simpler and less processed. It also becomes a great teaching opportunity. Children learn that healthy eating doesn't mean giving up enjoyment. It means making smarter choices. Now let's discuss why convenience matters so much. Because if healthy food always feels difficult, many people won't stick with it. That's reality. People are busy. They're tired. They want something easy. And that's another reason this recipe works. It takes only a few minutes. No complicated cleanup. No advanced skills. No waiting an hour for baking. Fast, simple, effective. And sometimes the simplest solutions are the ones people actually continue doing. Now, another thing I love about this dessert is that it encourages mindfulness. Instead of mindlessly eating from a package, you actually prepare something. You mix the ingredients, you watch it rise, you smell the chocolate, and that process itself often creates more satisfaction. Mindful eating can completely change how people experience food. When you slow down and actually enjoy what you're eating, satisfaction increases. And when satisfaction increases, overeating often decreases. Now let's talk about the emotional side of comfort foods. Many people turn to desserts because they want comfort, warmth, relaxation, relief from stress. And there's nothing wrong with wanting comfort. The key is learning how to create comfort in healthier ways. This dessert gives you that warm, soft chocolate experience without the extreme sugar overload that traditional desserts often create. That's balance. And balance is far more sustainable than restriction. Now, maybe you're someone who feels skeptical. Maybe you're thinking healthy desserts never taste good. I understand. A lot of people have tried recipes that felt dry, bland, or disappointing. But this recipe is different because the combination of almond flour, egg, cocoa, and healthy fats creates a genuinely rich texture. It feels satisfying. It feels real. And that's important. Because if healthy alternatives don't feel satisfying, people eventually go back to the original foods. Now let's discuss one more important concept. Consistency beats intensity. Extreme diets often fail because they are impossible to maintain, but small improvements repeated consistently create long-term results. Choosing a healthier dessert tonight may seem small, but repeated over months and years, those small decisions matter enormously. That's how lifestyles change, one better decision at a time. Now, I also want you to remember something. Health is not only about weight, it's about how you feel, your energy, your focus, your sleep, your mood, your confidence, your quality of life, and food influences every one of those areas. That's why learning simple recipes like this can be so valuable, because they help you create habits that support the body instead of constantly fighting against it. Now imagine ending your evening with this warm chocolate dessert and a calm routine. No giant sugar rush, no heavy processed junk, just a satisfying treat that leaves you feeling balanced instead of depleted. That's a completely different experience. And once people experience that difference, many never want to go back. Now here's another tip. If you really want to increase satiety, pair this dessert with good daily nutrition overall. Balanced meals, protein, fiber, healthy fats, hydration, sleep, movement. Because no single recipe works in isolation. Health is built through patterns, and this dessert can become one positive part of a much larger healthy lifestyle. Now let's quickly review why this dessert works so well. Lower in refined carbohydrates, higher in protein, higher in healthy fats, more stable blood sugar response, more satiety, fewer cravings, warm and satisfying texture, fast preparation, customizable ingredients, supports healthier nighttime eating habits. That combination is powerful. And remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is making better choices more consistently. Now, if you decide to try this tonight, really pay attention to how you feel afterward. Notice your cravings, notice your energy, notice your sleep, notice how your body responds compared to traditional desserts. Sometimes the body tells us very clearly which foods support us and which foods work against us. And when you begin listening to those signals, healthy choices become easier. Now, I want to leave you with this final thought. Taking care of your health does not have to mean removing every enjoyable thing from your life. In fact, the healthiest long-term lifestyle is often the one that still includes enjoyment, comfort, flavor, satisfaction, but done in a smarter and more balanced way. This warm chocolate dessert is one small example of how powerful that balance can be. So tonight, instead of reaching for something heavily processed and loaded with sugar, try something different. Grab a mug, mix a few simple ingredients, watch it rise, take that first warm bite, and experience what happens when dessert finally works with your body instead of against it. I hope this helps you make healthier choices that still feel enjoyable and realistic for everyday life. Wishing you and your family great health, more energy, better balance, and a happier relationship with food. Leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And most importantly, make it a great day.